Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 2 of the Babbling Cauldron podcast. I'm your host, Lashes Lane, and I am here with the beautiful bad witch, Miss Blaque Velvet.
Hi, everyone.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, Miss Blaque Velvet is not only my burlesque daughter, she has been in burlesque for about 1 year, right? 1.5?
So February? Give or take February of last year.
Bruce, you got a little buddy. Bruce is also here on the podcast.
I love you.
You are new to burlesque, but you're a published model. Catch this beautiful face in some Disney advertisements. Thank you. You are a former traveling MC professionally.
Yes.
And you've done character work and acting.
Yep.
For quite some time.
Character work,
pretty amazing.
Acting, author.
Oh yes, and an author.
Yes, I Love Your Skin is available anywhere that has retelling for books.
And it's really good. I've read it. It's about my reading level.
Mine too.
Yeah. And it has pictures, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, me too.
In the previous episode of Polly Poison, I said that my reading level is when I said that I was like Gaston.
Oh my God.
Pictures, so
I live for that.
Yeah.
And then your twin is on the Belle level.
Exactly.
Love that.
Belle and Gaston. That's great.
It's a balance.
So you do pretty much everything. I just want to tell everybody how you came into my life.
Real.
Yes. So the power of Instagram and social media.
Correct.
We have a couple of mutual friends, but Lucy LeClaire, who has been in Bad Witch Burlesque for a couple of years, shared a picture of you when you did a photo shoot with Retro Magic Photography, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the picture right here so you guys can see the booty that I saw.
Real.
I think I just shared it on the story.
Shared it. You shared it on your story, and I saw that I was mentioned. And I was familiarized with Bad Witch, but quite literally, side note, 2 months prior to this, I manifested that I wanted to start doing burlesque. I thought it would be cool.
Yeah.
I was interested in it. I started to educate myself a little bit of the history of burlesque, but I didn't go out of my way to try to actually do burlesque.
Right.
And then you shared my picture on the Bad Witch page on your story. And I messaged you and I said, "Is this your way of asking me to be a part of your cult?" Like jokingly.
And I think I said yes.
You said yes. And then we started talking, and then you were like, send in a reel of you dancing. Like you were asking if I had a history or a background in dancing or burlesque at all. And I said, I don't have a dance reel, but I do have a video of choreography that I did for a club because I was doing go-go and bottle service. And that's how it all started.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
And I think I had a jot form at that time. Yep. Applications are closed to join the Bad Witch Coven at this time because we are very full. But a beautiful, talented, yes. But before it was open and I was taking submissions actively because a lot of my regular performers moved away or they were really busy and they weren't available for all the shows anymore. So I was like, I need some more babes. I had an open link on the Instagram page. So I sent you the link and you filled out the whole thing.
Yep.
And then we had a FaceTime before we met in
person.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And I hung up the phone and I said, this woman does not know much about burlesque, but I love her. I love her, and she's got to come. And then you kittened.
Yep. It took me a while, too, because I think I kittened maybe once. And then I think several months went by before.
You were on tour, baby.
Yeah, I was on tour. I was on the national tour as an MC. So in between that time when
here we go.
Got into Bad Witch and then I went on tour, we had got some new witches. Yes. And I remember coming back and being like, hey, welcome. I'm like, well, it's not really a welcome. But still, it was nice to just kind of watch from the outside because again, I was so new into burlesque. I was learning. I hadn't really had the opportunity to attend shows or to take any sort of classes, etc. So everything was really just a watch period for me. And then
your debut.
Yeah.
You made my dreams come true.
Yes. I did making my dreams come true.
Yes.
And
What did it feel like to finally debut and do burlesque? You manifested it before you joined the group as a kitten.
Yep.
You manifested, I'm going to do burlesque. And burlesque is like such an interesting art form. Like we're literally stripping, but we're making it like, it's like theater.
Yeah.
It's glamour.
Yeah.
It's empowering. Like what did that moment for you feel like to do that? And do you mind sharing a little bit about that act and the inspiration?
Yeah. So I got married 2 years ago, in June, and it was at the tail end of my tour. I got married, and my spouse left the country the day you got married, that morning. So I dropped him off at the airport, and I went to your wedding. And then quite literally, I dropped him off at like 6 a.m., came home, slept for a little bit, got ready, went to your wedding. And then I was already getting severely sick during the summertime. Couldn't figure out what was going on. I was running fevers, et cetera, like always sick, throwing up. It was insane. But fast forward to February, I had dropped so much weight. I went from 150-ish to like 108 in the course of 2 weeks. And I was extremely nervous about, and at this time, I still didn't know what was going on with me. I'm also like condensing the extremes of what was actually happening with me. It was pretty bad.
We could probably do like a 3-hour episode just 100%, about your experiences 100%. Medically.
So I was very nervous about doing burlesque, debuting, because my body had gone through so many changes. I was dealing with a lot with my husband at the time, and here I was going to do this show where you're sexy and you're confident and you're comfortable in your skin, and I remember thinking, I don't know what the hell I'm about to do. I was terrified. And then I got out there, and I really just thought about the opportunity that I had.
And you killed it.
Thank
too.
You.
It was so theatrical. It was so cute. It was campy.
Thank you.
It was fun. Your movements were great. The pacing was great. Everyone said to me after your debut, wow, I can't believe that was her first burlesque act, because you didn't look nervous. A lot of times people who are new in any kind of art, but burlesque especially, because you're taking your clothes off. You're taking your clothes off. A lot of times you see the fear in their eyes, and they're like, they kind of have that deer in headlines, and they're thinking about what step goes next. They're thinking, okay, next I have to take my glove off, and I have to remember that I'm gonna throw it in between my butt cheeks,
which is so like valid. Yeah, but it's valid to feel that. It's terrifying, especially where we do our shows. It is a theater.
It's a theater.
So all eyes are on you. It's very different than doing a floor show or even being at a different venue. But I remember like just putting it all out there. Somebody came up to me afterwards. I don't remember who it was, but it was a gentleman. And he says, so this was actually your first show, or were you just saying that so that you get tipped more? And I remember being like laughing. He was like, I'm being serious.
Oh my God.
And I said, no, this was my first burlesque show in my entire life, of this lifetime.
Yeah.
But everything that I wanted to do with burlesque, I was able to, my initial thought for burlesque, I was able to do in that act, which was theatrical, comedy, campiness, because everything I had read about burlesque, I was like, that's what it's supposed to be. Sexy, cool, flirty, and funny, if you wanted to be. The inspiration behind that was lashes making my dreams come true, because I manifested this. And so I selected that song for that, and obviously it was like a Valentine's-esque themed show, because it was in February. And then at the end of the show, I had a picture, and everybody thought it was going to be everyone thought the photo reveal was going to be either of myself or of my husband, but this was the reveal.
And I cried.
Yes, that was a reveal. That was who I dedicated that to. Was Lashes and the Troop, for literally making my dreams come true. Giving me a shot.
After that, you did every single show.
Every show of last year.
Yeah, of last year, which
Holy
is amazing.
Shit.
You did tarot, which was pretty dark for you, embodying the devil.
Yeah.
You had prosthetic horns done by, was that by Vanity Allura?
Yes, it was by Vanity.
What was it like creating a devil act? What made you think of the devil? Because tarot is so personal, so interesting, because I feel like everyone always has their own personal spin on tarot. Like, it's always like really emotional, the show. Because everyone's themes are like so connected to what's going on in their life. So what was the devil for you?
The devil for me was, this was also the first show that I was able to incorporate, what I now do in every show, which is film. I studied film in school. When I was in college, I minored in film. So I wanted to be able to incorporate something. I was obviously a theater kid. For anybody who's been to our shows that has seen me, it's pretty obvious I was a theater kid.
So
but
many
I
of
also
us.
am a film student as well. Didn't last long. I left, but while I was there, I minored in film. Shout out to Mike Marin and Jules photography, because they were the reasons why I was able to make that come true. So my inspiration behind that and the devil card was essentially just giving into temptations, and Mike Marin plays my love interest, who I'm seducing. So funny. I'm like climbing on top of him, and I went from this very campy act to like that's not me.
It was very different.
It was very different. I wanted to challenge myself last year. My first year into burlesque, I was still trying to figure out who I was as a performer, which I think can develop over time, even years in, and I could be wrong. I might come back on this like 5 episodes later and be like, I was wrong. You don't develop, you stay the same. I don't know, but
no, you definitely do.
That's what I would assume, very much as you would in life, right? So I was like, okay, let me try the sexy thing. But the idea behind it was giving into your desires, and that being the devil card. He's like strapped against the bed in this act or in the video, and he eventually gives in. And so that was my interpretation of the devil card. It's just having these desires in your life or temptations in your life that are desirable, but you don't know if you should do it or not. And that was kind of what I was also experiencing at that point in my life, because then I had at that point called for the divorce, and just where I was at. Just where I was at. I was like, okay, I'm trying not to give into certain things in my life, but being human, that's where I was.
That's what we do sometimes. Yeah. And it's so amazing, like, hearing all of your acts and all the life events that have happened, and how you're able to create all of this like cool art. How therapeutic. Like, honestly,
oh gosh, 100%.
So therapeutic. I know your next show was the last theater show of 2023 last year. And you did one of my favorite acts, the baseline bit.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I think that was the first time I saw you perform without shoes. And you were just bouncing, and it was so cool. And I've performed twice without shoes this year, and it's just so freeing and so fun.
I feel grounded.
Yes.
I feel so grounded.
You were bouncy.
Thank you.
That one was, were you Marie Laveau inspired?
Yes,
correct?
Marie Laveau inspired. So I am Cajun, and we had actually went to New Orleans that year in May for my sister's wedding. And I love Marie Laveau. It's my history teacher in 6th grade used to call me Marie Laveau.
Oh, really?
And
you didn't tell me that. Yeah. That's cool.
Also, when I was in New Orleans, somebody gave me a devil card when I walked into a store. I'll have to tell you about it later. But
oh my god,
I don't think I told you that. I still have it
off camera. Chat.
I know.
It's crazy.
Literally insane. So the act, I was like, you know what? I want to do something that also is a callback to my culture, my community, and I wanted to. Voodoo is not a close practice. Hoodoo, which I practice, is. But I was like, oh, it'd be cool if I had kind of like this oh, you guys are playing around with voodoo. You're kind of making a mockery of it, because a lot of people do. A lot of people don't take voodoo seriously. You see it everywhere, like, oh, voodoo queen, and it's more like playtime. They take it as like a Halloween thing, when in reality, it's serious. It's very big in New Orleans. There is a specific voodoo called New Orleans voodoo, and my interpretation was to essentially be one of Marie Laveau's daughters, because it's they talk about in New Orleans how Marie Laveau had many kids, even if they weren't biologically hers, as she had many children. And so I was like, oh, I want to embody that as Miss Blaque Velvet, is that I'm one of Marie Laveau's kids. And so shout out to Lucy, because she was a part of that video, and my friend Elizabeth. And they chat about it. They have a Fat Tuesdays cup with like water in it, and they're chatting around the campfire, and they're like, oh, she's like, I'm not worried about her. And Lucy's playing around with voodoo, and she's like, I'm watching, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, so you're not worried about it. Okay.
What'd she say? Lucy said like a really iconic line. I'm not worried about Miss Blaque Velvet. Yeah. And it was like, Miss Blaque Velvet.
I'm not worried about Miss Blaque Velvet.
Yeah. And then it cuts to you and you're like,
it's so corny.
What did you say?
I just laughed.
Oh yeah,
I just laughed. I'm watching it, and I'm like, I just laugh about it, and then come out on stage, and that's so funny. And that is so camp. And it was bounce so good the whole time. Shout out to the Nova Twins, because they really they do their own instruments. That's a sidebar, because I went on a just rock like music journey. Shout out to you for allowing me to what's the word? I listen to rock, but I never thought I could dance to it.
Oh, you can dance to it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I was singing the song nonstop like a week.
I love that. That was a fun show. That was a really fun show. I think I really released. And then we did
Spooky Empire.
Freaking Empire.
That was the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, because that closed out last year for you with Spooky Empire. I know you did a couple other things for Bad Witch. That was your last show with us for the year. And Spooky Empire, man, you really looked like you were part of the film. Would you like to tell everybody what you did for Spooky Empire if they don't know? It was so good.
Spooky Empire.
The inspiration.
Yeah, the inspiration behind what Spooky Empire is, again, like one of the things I'm very passionate about is Black entertainment, and really highlighting Black actors and actresses in horror, because there's not a whole lot. And Spooky Empire obviously is a horror convention, and I thought, what could I do for this and make it Black? And so I was like, wait a minute, Jordan Peele, everyone know, if you've seen Us, or even if you haven't, everyone knows the red jumpsuit. How can I make this sexy? And I was like, you know what, it doesn't have to be.
It wasn't,
because there are going to be a bunch of horror people who are going to enjoy this for what it is. And I had, as we were mentioning earlier, I got to do something campy. I got to do something sexy. I got to do something powerful. Now I get to be
scary,
weird, and scary.
You were
just
scary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it was simple. I got the red jumpsuit and the glove and the scissors, had bantu knots, and then had like concealer on my eyebrows. And I looked at myself in the mirror, and I was like, just be weird. Just be creepy, and just go out there and stare at everybody. And so the beginning music is, I got 5 on it, but the scary mix. And then I was like, how can I do this? Are people going to like this? And I just walked out with these scissors, and I'm just looking at everybody. And if you look at the video, I'm shaking. I was shaking because the audience was so packed out.
Oh yeah.
There were people sitting on the ground.
It was huge.
It was huge. There had to be like 300 something people in there.
There might have been more.
There had to have been, because we see 130 at the Meat Theater.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem like a lot when you're looking at it by how the seating is. But that at Spooky Empire,
huge.
Yeah, it was huge. And I don't know. But it went from that, I got 5 on it, to it switches to a little campy. And the song that I selected was called Two Face by a band called, I think it's Red Key. Red Key.
I can't remember. Red Key. Is it spelled? I can spell
Radke.
Yeah.
Y.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how it's spelled.
Yeah. They're also an all-black rock band.
So
cool. I was just looking for music on Spotify, and the song is called Two-Face. I was like, that'd be perfect because the tethered. And so it goes from that into that song, and yeah, that was my. Cool. But I like to play with musicality and try to make it make sense.
Yeah, I want to correct myself because I said it wasn't sexy. It was sexy. It was sexy.
Thank you so much.
It was like sexy, scary.
I wish I could relive that moment because that was really cool. I think that was one of my most like interesting and unique experiences so far with burlesque. Now I'm like reliving it. I'm like, wow, we
really did that.
I also was really crying.
Yeah, I was also crying. That one was emotional for me because there was just so many people, and I'm like, this is us. This is our show.
Us.
This is our
and
show.
Us. Heavy on us.
And us.
Literally us. Which, speaking of emotional, the show of the beginning of this year,
Love Magic. I'm like, what you got to know about me is for the last couple of years, all of the February shows have been like Love Potion, Love Spell, Love, and I'm like, which love one was it? You know what I mean? But it was Love Magic. Love Magic. That was, speaking of crying.
Yeah. That
Are we ready?
Are we? Yeah, because I probably will cry talking about it. But that's okay. For real.
I'll cry too.
Thank you. That show, y'all have heard me mention the divorce, the Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease. I don't think I mentioned that that's what I had or have. But that was my life all last year, was ending that marriage, getting diagnosed with autoimmune disease, and finding myself as a new person and stepping into a new me, because I had to completely reinvent myself, and I'm very appreciative, so appreciative, because burlesque helped. And everybody every single person in Bad Witch, every single person was right there. Every single person.
We love you.
And you would come over and take my dogs out when I could. I mean, Emma Jewel came over and braided my hair. Cersei came over and just sat in bed with me. Olympia would hang out. I mean, every single person. And so this, at the top of the year, which was also essentially my anniversary.
Yes. Your performing anniversary.
Yeah, my performing anniversary. I was like, this is it. I'm going to lay everything out. And so the song that I selected was Vampire, the rock version. And I said, okay, I'm listening to the song, and the first chords of the song, I'm immediately, I'm like, I close my eyes and I just picture me walking down the aisle, and I picture myself walking down the aisle to marry a vampire, someone who is sucking the life out of me. And I'm like, so in a daze, but it's also like my intuition is telling me like, this is actually wrong. And so I see myself walking down the aisle. I see this vampire. I, take my veil off. And as I'm taking the veil off, the veil is also coming off of my eyes. And I'm really seeing this person for who he really is. But I do it anyway. And I marry this person. And once I marry this person, I start to become a monster, which is the vampire. And so for me, I got married June 1st of 2022, and I started to get sick in July. So, I mean, it was almost instantaneously that this autoimmune disease that hadn't been prevalent before, I had not even known I had, didn't even know what Crohn's disease was. I started to get sick. I'm throwing up. My body is quite literally, I'm becoming a monster and rejecting this marriage. But whether or not I stay married, I'm always going to have Crohn's disease. I'm always going to have this autoimmune disease. And so for me, I was becoming a vampire. And whether or not he was in my life, I was always going to be that. And that's what I needed to accept. So the act starts with me walking down shout out to Dobby, because Dobby was my spouse, or they proposed to me in the video. That it's like a lost files for that video at the beginning of the show, and everyone in the audience is like, "Oh, it's so cute!" And then I walk out, and I take the veil off, I hand flowers off and to the audience, and I'm happy. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, that first that first, like, I'm like, wait. And then I could see the audience like, what's going on? And that first bass, I guess, of the song is when I start to transform into the vampire. And from there, I'm taking off the dress and, doing the act. But essentially, the whole act, I become a vampire. And I was supposed to have teeth; they fell out.
Oh, whatever.
But I had the blood, but needless to say, at the end of the act, I felt everything just release.
Oh, man, you didn't need the teeth. Yeah, it was so beautiful. I just want everyone listening and watching. This was even if I. Oh my God! Now I'm gonna cry. It's like hard to talk about because it was so powerful, and it really shows you like what burlesque can be.
Yeah.
And for you to use like my show as therapy, I'm so honored that you would bring something that meant something so deep to you.
Thank you so much.
A show that I'm producing, like, what an honor for me to have you do that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that
amazing.
Was to be able to like. Because again, the whole act, I'm turning into a vampire, and then to finally, like, I look in the mirror, I realize I'm the vampire. At the end, that's, the big reveal. And I look into the audience. Shout out to Matt. He got a really good photo of the blood, like, and as I'm looking to the audience to reveal that I'm now a vampire. And I remember just like cried, and you came up.
And then we cried together like this.
And that's like our second photo where we're like laughing because a handful of my friends came to support, and a couple of them were like, yeah, I cried. So I was like, oh, thanks, me too. I also did.
Yeah.
But that's that was the most freeing show I've ever done in any capacity. And whether it be burlesque, emceeing, dancing, theatrical, that was the most free I have ever felt. And I got to release all of that. It's weird because now we're getting ready for another show.
Yeah.
Our last theater show.
How did that happen?
I have no idea. But now that we're getting ready for that, I'm like, what the hell do I even do? I mean, I have an idea now, but I was thinking to myself, I even sat out for submitting for the last one because I was like, wow, I just closed this chapter.
Yeah.
After a year I pulled all this inspiration from those specific like life events that I felt like, what inspiration do I have now?
Right.
And I felt a little lost, and I had to sit with myself, and I then had to remind myself, why did you manifest burlesque?
Yeah.
What was it for? I had to really check myself and say, you're more than those life events that happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I had to sit with myself and really say that. I'm like, girl, get it together. You're the same girl that brought out a sign that said clap, bitch.
Yes.
And like has gone with me every show now. It's like, but the clapping is not for the sad events or the powerful events or life-changing. It's also just because
of you being you.
Which I feel like everybody should feel, So this show, I'm excited because it's
new chapter.
A new chapter.
I'm excited.
So excited.
Oh my God. I want to ask, I'm so curious because I don't think I've ever asked you this before. Seeing pictures of you as like a little kid and stuff.
Yeah.
Were you like a child model, child actor? Like how old were you when you had your first gig?
I wasn't. So I had like professional headshots done, but I was raised by my grandmother and my mom. And my mom was always working, and my grandmother, like I was taking care of her once I got to like 8 or 9. But they tried with certain things. Like my mom tried to get me into modeling, but I grew up in a small town in East Tennessee, and anything that was going to the mall or in the big city nearby was a gimmick. Okay. It was just trying to take your money. And my mom, she would try, and she's like, I just don't have the money for that. Thank God she didn't, because it wasn't like legitimate. Barbizon. Yeah, it was Barbizon. And I'm like, girl, now as a professional entertainer, I'm like, thank God you didn't do that. Girly pop. Barbizon. But yeah, oh my God. But no, I didn't do, and even with dancing, like I danced, but then I stopped, which I'm not even going to get into why of that, but there were so many different things that really prevented me from being able to do it at the level of which I am now. But I cheered my way into college. I cheered at King University, and I gave up my cheer scholarship to move down to Orlando. And and then I auditioned at Universal. Okay. And now I've been performing there for 6 years now. I've performed at Legoland, SeaWorld. And now I have an upcoming gig at Disney. Yeah! Have I told you that?
No.
Oh. Well, it's for the Halloween season.
Oh, wait.
I'm emceeing?
Yes.
I don't know if...
We might have to bleep all this out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be like, I have a gig with bleep. It's doing bleep.
Yeah. Just know it's going to be for the Halloween season. I think like once I post pictures, I might have to do like my friend. I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
Disney's weird.
Yeah, Disney is weird.
Man. Beep. 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 That one place.
I can shout out Penguin Entertainment though.
Oh, nice.
Because that is who the gig is through, and they're incredible.
So we've been talking for a pretty long time now. We've gotten to know. Yeah, I love the yapping. Hey, that's what this is. It's literally called Bad Witch Babbles.
Correct.
For a reason, because we're just babbling, And I think that's
thought of a better name.
A wonderful thing. Thank you. The Babbles.
I love that.
Babbling all night.
That's so iconic.
All night, all day. Before this episode, though, we've been just like
just chatting,
and now it's getting late because we're old ladies.
We are,
but like in a good way.
Yeah,
we're taking care of ourselves. We're in our self-care era. We're trying to get lots of sleep. We're hydrating. We're going to the gym. What is some advice you have for your younger self?
Advice I have for my younger self.
Yes,
I would say that you might not be everybody's beauty standard, but make sure that you are your own.
Oh my gosh. That's so good.
Yeah.
I wish that my younger self knew that one too.
Yeah. I think that's so valid for a lot of people, regardless of what your background is. I know for myself, like growing up, as I mentioned, in East Tennessee, in a small town, most people did not look like me. Shocker. But most people didn't look like me, and I struggled with that a lot. Not just from like people turning off the lights. Oh my God, we can't find it. Just crazy stuff. Kids, whatever, even adults.
What?
But girl. But it wasn't until I moved down here 2 months after my 20th birthday, I lost my grandmother. Oh, and then thank you. And then I lost my grandfather. And then I lost my job.
God,
this is not a sad, this is not sad.
I'm so sorry.
But because of all these things, I looked in the mirror and I grabbed a pair of scissors and I chopped all my hair off. And I used to have straight hair. I found myself even in that was the growth of my hair, which is something that a lot of Black women have because of our community and because of history, historically speaking, we've attached ourselves to. And so I had to find myself with that, which I do a lot. I go on journeys where I find myself.
I love that.
Yeah, if you couldn't tell. But I was able to love myself through that. Love my hair, love my skin. hence the book, and a shameless plug.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's what I would tell my younger self. That's literally why I even wrote the book, was like, this is for you and it's for me. I got a text from a friend once that said, do it for little Miss Blaque Velvet and do it for the big one too.
I love it.
But yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self and my current one.
We are getting to the end of this podcast. I would love, since you've only been doing burlesque for about a year and you've been on a whole journey, you just gave advice to your younger self. What would you say to performers that are newer, entering the scene? Like, do you have any words of wisdom for them? I know before we were talking, and we were talking about like being yourself. I would love for you to share some of that on camera, because it was so good off camera.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be authentic. I think that it's and I think that's like, it might be cliche. I think be yourself is more of what people say. I'm going to say be authentic, because we all have a story to tell. And even if that's not your way of coming into burlesque, if storytelling is not your thing, being authentically you, remember why you started, remember how you started, keep yourself grounded. And it's okay to not have it all together. Please do not compare yourself to anybody. I came in blindly, which I'm very fortunate of. Not blindly in the sense of I had Lucy, and other people that were encouraging me and didn't let me, walk around with my eyes closed. But I came in blindly in the sense that I wasn't looking at any other troops. I wasn't looking at other performers like, I need to be like that. So the first burlesque show I ever went to, I got to see Lucy, and I got to see Tush, and I also got to see Foxy.
Okay.
But Tush, I saw her and I said, she's so theatrical and she's so authentic to herself. But I didn't design I wasn't like, I'm going to go out there. But I'd say inspiration is fine. But don't get caught up in it. And don't get caught up in the idea that you have to have everything. I have to have the best burlesque costume. I have to have this. I have to be at this. I have to go to every show. Sometimes your pockets are hurting. It is good to go to shows and support people in the community. And it's good to again, get inspiration. But you don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
You just have to start here and stay focused on yourself. Stay in your own lane. Do not look at somebody else's journey and compare yourself, because where they're at is not where you're at. And
social media too, I feel like people only really post their highlights.
Correct.
Like, I'm not posting me with no makeup on, laying in my bed with a bag of potato chips and my cat. Well, sometimes I do post that.
Wait a minute.
Actually, no. Sometimes I do post that. I have posted that. But I'm not posting like my ugliest moments on social media. You might have seen me in bed with my cats, but it's not when I look the most hideous. Right. That's a little glammed up. Yeah. Approved. 100%. So even the stuff that looks like we're posting stuff that's like so oh wow, look, she's just in her pajamas. Okay, but like I took that picture 16 times because I wasn't trying to post something where I look like I've got big bags under my eyes. 100%.
100%.
It's so filtered. We're posting our best moments. So if you're new and you're looking at someone else's that's new or that's been around for a while and comparing, like, they're just posting their best days.
100%. And that goes for performances as well. It's okay to have the shows where you're like, that probably wasn't my best. My last piece of advice, aside from authenticity, because I do believe that a lot of people would give that advice, something that I don't think a lot of people will say is FOMO is a figment of your imagination.
Hey, I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just made it up.
I love it.
Maybe somebody else has said it. I don't think I'm that original. But I will say, I think FOMO is a figment of your imagination. Everything that is for you will be for you.
I love that.
Everything that is meant for you will happen. It's not to say that you can't miss out on things because you might be holding yourself back. That is different. Fear and intimidation is a limit that you set on yourself. However, FOMO, you don't have to do every show. You don't have to do every show that you get asked to do. You don't have to submit for every show.
And that's something you do learn, like, I feel like later.
Yeah.
Because when you're brand new, right out the gate, you want to accept every opportunity.
100%.
And I would like to add, a lot of people want to accept every opportunity, and it might not pay either. And make sure you're getting paid. It doesn't matter if you are doing burlesque for 1 month and you're brand new. You should be getting paid your standard rate. You shouldn't be doing shows for free, and you need to make sure you're,
compensated for your talent and your time. And if you don't feel like, if you are confused or you don't know if that's the rate that's an appropriate amount, ask somebody. Ask a vet.
Yes.
Ask a vet. Ask questions if you aren't sure. And if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. But you're not a prude for saying no, and you're not a bad person, and it's not going to get you blacklisted as long as you're respectful.
Right.
As long as you're respectful, then you'll be fine. And that's it.
I love that.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to say to everybody before we say good night or good? I guess it might not be nighttime.
Whatever time you're watching this.
Whatever time.
I would just say thank you. Thank you for the support in any capacity, whether this is your first time being introduced to me through this. And if it's not, if you watched it because you've seen some of my acts, or if you just love lashes like the rest of us.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet.
Or if you love Bad Witch, and because we do have a lot of people who really do support Bad Witch.
Yeah, I know, and
which
they're
is
the
really
best.
freaking cool. Like, that's really cool. Shout out to y'all.
Yeah, you guys are the best.
Clearly, I mean, I'm very appreciative. I'm very appreciative to be a part of this, and thank you. That's really it. Come to our freaking shows.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be back on all the streaming platforms together soon. Yay. But I love you. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna snuggle and then go to bed. What
there
are you
she goes.
With your little
Miss America.
Okay, good night.
Good
Love
night.
you guys.